What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, daily news, and everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., and everything you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market. And if you're new to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. We got a lot to talk about here. 70,000 new people are getting a stimulus program that is going to help them out tremendously. We're going to talk about that here. Many thousands of dollars for that. We're going to also be talking about Kirsten Sinema. Senator Kirsten Sinema is actually getting in very hot water with her own party, her own Democratic Party from her own state. Check this out. We got a lot to talk about here. We'll start with this story.
But first, everyone, we have some breaking news to share from Arizona, rather. That is where the state's Democratic Party has just formally censured Senator Kirsten Sinema. Let's go to NBC's Julie Sirkin, who's going to fill us in on what all of this means. Julie, what do you know about this?
Yeah, so the Arizona Democratic Party actually just met behind closed doors this morning, taking this formal vote to censure her. Of course, they prepared legislation last fall if she were to go against what they say is democracy, if she were not to go forward and vote and do whatever it takes to pass voting rights legislation. They said in part in their statement, quote, "While we take no pleasure in this announcement, the ADP Executive Board has decided to formally censure Senator Sinema as a result of her failure to do whatever it takes to ensure the health of our democracy." Now, I should note that the Democratic Party, after Senator Sinema voted with Republicans against that rules change that would have enabled a simple majority, 51 Democrats, to pass voting rights legislation this week, they issued a strongly worded statement saying they will meet today. They also floated the possibility of taking a vote of no confidence in the senator, saying that they may support a primary challenger to her in 2024. Now, the public version of their meeting is actually set to get underway in the next couple of minutes. There are a lot of members, over 800 in the Arizona Democratic Party, which means we could see on camera a potential vote of no confidence later today. Alex?
So yeah, you can see here Senator Kirsten Sinema, senator from Arizona, her own Democratic Party from Arizona unanimously voted to censure her for voting to uphold the filibuster that she just did here a few days ago, along with Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia. Yeah, very interesting here. You can see here the Arizona Democratic Party unanimously voted to censure Senator Kirsten Sinema on Saturday in one of the most significant rebukes for her vote to uphold the Senate filibuster, basically going against her own Democratic Party, where all the other Democrats besides her and Joe Manchin voted for it. Same thing with the stimulus package, the Build Back Better package. They say, quote, "While we take no pleasure in this announcement, the ADP, the Arizona Democratic Party Executive Board, has decided to formally censure Senator Kirsten Sinema as a result of her failure to do whatever it takes to ensure the health of our democracy," said Party Chair Raquel Teran in a statement. The vote took place at an executive board meeting on Saturday, according to Michael Slugaki, vice chairman of the Arizona Democrats. The vote is the latest sign of growing tension between Sinema and her home state's party apparatus. Quote, "I've never seen ever in my time organizing in the Arizona Democratic Party such a large amount of Democrats upset. It's never been at these levels ever." In October, the ADP issued a resolution that urged Sinema to vote with the rest of her colleagues to abolish the Senate filibuster, which allows the minority party to block unfavorable legislation. They had also warned of a possible vote of no confidence should Sinema choose to uphold the filibuster. The Democrats had hoped to pass two key voting right bills this month, but with the filibuster in place, these bills face an impassable Republican blockade in the Senate. Sinema had held firm in her refusal to change the Senate rules, arguing that it would increase partisanship in the chamber, which is already pretty high. Arizona Democratic Party officials were enraged when she voted along with the Republicans on Wednesday to keep the Senate filibuster intact. Remember, the Republicans removed the filibuster just a few years ago for appointing Supreme Court justices. Their censure indicates growing frustration from state party officials with their sitting senator and could portend trouble for Sinema as progressives clamor for a progressive to challenge her for the Democratic primary seat in 2024. State parties typically help raise funds, knock on doors, register voters, and arrange rallies, providing a major boost to statewide candidates. Representative Ruben Gallego, a congressman representing the Phoenix area, is emerging as an early favorite to challenge Senator Kyrsten Sinema in 2 years, as he has left the door open to run in statements to the press. Both Senator Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin's approval ratings have been at or near all-time lows for them, as well as President Biden himself, as Democrats are scrambling to try to pass the next stimulus package after they have passed the American Rescue Plan, the $1,400 stimulus checks, the child tax credits, which were passed for 2021 but have now expired. And the economy is struggling significantly now under the Omicron variant, with over 8.8 million people out of work right now. Let me know your thoughts here on this latest move here from the Arizona Democratic Party. And what do you think this means going forward for Kyrsten Sinema going forward? Remember, she's a freshman senator. This is her first term, but senators serve 6-year terms. Do you think the Arizona Democratic Party will even back her for re-election going forward, or do you think they'll back another candidate for the Democratic seat? And yeah, we have a lot of Democrats, their own party, very upset with Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Now, meanwhile, maybe Senator Joe Manchin's feeling the pressure as well, as just within the last, 24, 48 hours or so here, he says he's ready to talk and ready to come back to the table and negotiate with his own party, the Democrats, and President Joe Biden, and potentially pass the Build Back Better package or additional stimulus packages. And remember, this is his party. He considers himself a Democrat, as well as Senator Kyrsten Sinema. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here going forward, as their own parties are not very happy with them. In fact, they've actually been getting more. Senator Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are actually receiving, ironically, more and more money from Republican donors, GOP donors, which stands for the Grand Old Party, an old nickname for the Republican Party. So they're actually getting more and more donations from, or contributions from, Republican donors, as their own Democratic Party is pretty upset with them over multiple different issues. So you can let me know your thoughts on what do you think will be happening here going forward. Meanwhile, President Biden seems to think that they are going to be able to make a deal on several different things going forward here. Take a listen.
Is there anything that you are confident you can get signed into law before the midterm elections?
Yes, I'm confident we can get pieces, big chunks of the Build Back Better law signed into law. It's clear to me that that we're going to have to probably break it up. I think that we can get, and I've been talking to a number of my colleagues on the Hill, I think it's clear that we would be able to get support for the $500+ billion for energy and the environmental issues that are there, number one. Number two, I know that the two people who've opposed, on the Democratic side at least, support a number of the things that are in there. For example, Joe Manchin strongly supports early education 3 and 4 years of age. Strongly supports that. There is strong support for, I think, a number of the way in which to pay for these, pay for this proposal. So I think there is. I'm not going to negotiate against myself as to what should and shouldn't be in it, but I think we can break the package up, get as much as we can now, and come back and fight for the rest later.
So President Biden is confident he can, quote, get big chunks. Not the best choice of words, but he can get big chunks of stimulus pass or different items passed this year from the Build Back Better package or others, other packages this year. There is multiple different things going on here. If you watch our channel, you know there's all sorts of different kind of provisions going past. Here's an interesting one that 70,000 or more people actually are getting right now. Check this out. You can see here, student loan forgiveness has arrived for 70,000 borrowers working in the public service jobs. Yeah, so we're starting to see more and more student loan forgiveness here in 2022. Remember that in 2021, we had over $11.5 billion in student loan forgiveness that was done in 2021. This is not for everybody. It's kind of been big chunks of people, different groups of people that have kind of been just kind of the way that they're grouping this going forward. In 2021, it was groups of people that had disability, groups of people that their schools closed on them, groups of people that their schools defrauded them. And now we have probably a couple other groups I'm forgetting. We also have now over 70,000 borrowers and even more that are going to be happening here in the public service. I'll show you here. The overhaul of a previously controversial loan forgiveness program that was not working very well in the past at all was projected to erase the debt of 22,000 student loan borrowers in just the first few weeks. 3 months in, more than triple that figure have had their debts wiped out. The U.S. Department of Education released the public service forgiveness loan figures on Thursday, a year into President Joe Biden's term as president. This loan forgiveness initiative was initially rolled out in 2007 and was designed to entice people to work as teachers, police officers, firefighters, or others in public service jobs. Anybody that works in any of those jobs, thank you so much for your service. You definitely deserve this, in my opinion. Thank you so much for your service. After 10 years of working in these jobs and making payments as well, their college debt would be erased. And again, this was passed in 2007, but as you can see here, in practice, the federal government forgave almost no one's debt, which is really, really sad. So 15 years later, they passed this, but for some reason or another, through multiple different presidents throughout the time and Congress, and who knows what happened, they just weren't forgiving the debt for whatever reason. Now they're changing it and they're actually kind of making it happen. When Biden administration loosened the standards in October, the agency estimated that more than 22,000 borrowers would benefit immediately, and 27,000 people would qualify as soon as they proved they worked at an eligible job. Data from the department now shows that roughly 70,000 borrowers have qualified for nearly $5 billion in relief. So this is billions of dollars that are already helping out people. Over 70,000 people have basically got this stimulus relief. This is literally stimulus. It's forgiving their money, forgiving their debt. It's helping the economy because they now have this money that they could go out and spend on anything else in the economy. And honestly, these are people that are working in jobs like teachers, firefighters, policemen. So again, thank you for your service. And there's going to be more here. You can see here, the Biden administration estimates as many as 550,000 borrowers could benefit from the changes to this program. That's over half a let me see here, 500,000 borrowers, 550,000 borrowers could benefit from the changes to this program. So, if you are one of these people, definitely look into this program. I will put a link here in the description of this video to the official student loan forgiveness website. I'll get to that here in a second, just so you don't go to any scam websites. President Biden faces calls to use his executive authority, presidential executive order, to forgive student loan debt for more than 43 million federal borrowers. That's all the federal borrowers. It's about 1 in 6 Americans have student loan debt. Okay. The president campaigned on forgiving up to $10,000 per borrower, but it has not been done yet for everybody. You can see here there has been $11.5 billion done last year. They now have this done that was done now kind of last year and this year. This is kind of ongoing. There's going to be potentially up to 550,000 more people with this done. And so far this year, the student loan forgiveness or student loan company that kind of deals with the loans, Navient, is going to be canceling $1.7 billion additionally in private student loan debt. So if you have private student loans with Navient, you want to probably contact them directly if you have a private student loan debt. Remember, about 95% of student loans are with the federal government, but this is for private student loans. So there's a lot of different kind of student loan forgiveness stuff going on here right now. And I'll put a link down to the student loan forgiveness website directly from the government, studentaid.gov. Says official website of the US government. You got to be careful because there's a lot of student loan forgiveness scams out here. Again, it's not for everybody. There's different groups of people, as I've kind of explained here, that qualify for student loan forgiveness. Okay. I tried to kind of explain it the best I can. But you can definitely go on their website here and see if you qualify for one of these: teacher student loan, public student loan forgiveness, closed school student loan forgiveness, all these different, total and permanent disability discharge, discharge due to death, discharge in bankruptcy in rare case, all these different type of student loan forgiveness or discharge programs. I also think because student loan forgiveness used to be a fallacy, it used to be something that people used to joke about. Like, yeah, student loan forgiveness, that'll never happen. That's something that people that, wacko people that think that the government's just going to hand out free money, those type of people, right? That people that think that that's going to happen. Well, that literally happens. If you if you watch my show, you know that there's been 3 rounds of stimulus checks, there's unemployment bonuses, there's SNAP bonuses, there's universal basic income, there's billions of dollars of student loan forgiveness. There's a potential for Social Security increases, $200 or more, in addition to the 5.9% cost of living adjustment. There's a potential fourth stimulus package. There's been paycheck protection program, grants that were basically just given out and then forgiven, that were basically just like huge loans that were given out for free. I mean, when you think about all these different type of things, a lot of it is basically just free money. Okay. And nobody really paid for it. I always get the occasional comment of, why are my tax dollars paying for this or for that or for this or for that? I get that argument because, again, I look at things as a realist, but in all reality, the government runs a deficit. Okay. And we're at like $29 trillion in deficit right now. And we've been running a deficit for a long time, whether it's a Democratic president or a Republican president. Uh, Former President Donald Trump added almost $8 trillion to the deficit in about 4 years. Biden's probably going to run somewhere close to that, if not more. And back in around 1990, we had about $3 trillion in to the deficit. Now we have $29 trillion to the deficit. And by most cases, taxes are actually near or at an all-time low. In fact, when you look at this article from last year, 61% of Americans paid no federal income tax at all in 2020. Now, this was back from when former President Donald Trump was president. This was before Biden even became president. So 61% of Americans paid no federal income taxes at all in 2020. Now, this accounts for the stimulus checks you got underneath former President Donald Trump. So if you did pay some federal income taxes, technically the stimulus checks would offset that. So if you maybe paid $1,000 in federal income tax, technically stimulus check 1 and stimulus checks 2 would offset that, and you would actually be negative there. If you had any unemployment extra money, again, that's kind of offsets that there. If you had a tax refund, that offsets there. So a lot of people go to work and they pay some federal income tax, but when all is said and done and all is calculated on your tax return, 61% of Americans actually paid no federal income tax or negative federal income tax in 2020. And remember, this was underneath Trump, not Biden. So, by all accounts, the deficit goes up, 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 and taxes are at an all-time low. So, in all, you could kind of make the case that does the deficit really matter? I get that it kind of matters with inflation a little bit, but remember, this was back to 2020 before inflation was even really there. Okay. Inflation, in my opinion, is more because of the pandemic, and we're coming out of the pandemic. We had really virtually no inflation during the pandemic. We actually had deflation. I mean, we think about gas went down during the pandemic. A lot of prices went down during the pandemic because the country closed and stuff. That's like a different story, right? But I mean, taxes are at an all-time low and have been for many, many years. And the deficit went to from 3 trillion in 1990 to 29 trillion here in 2022. It's going to keep going up. So if anything, if it's going to keep going up, no matter who's the president, Republican or Democrat, we might as well have them spend some money on helping the people, right? Student loan forgiveness, social security raises, stimulus checks, money for low income people, feed the poor. I mean, you got that old saying from Tupac, right? They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Well, if anything, now that this pandemic's happening and kind of has been going on for 3 years now, 2020, 2021, and 2022, they are actually helping now. You kind of think of all these different programs that they're doing now that we just kind of mentioned. Before the pandemic, they weren't doing all those things. There was no stimulus checks. There was no unemployment bonuses. There was no student loan forgiveness. You just seen 15 years, they didn't do anything. There was no talk of social security raises. There was no third stimulus check, second stimulus check. There was no paycheck protection. All these different programs. There was no pandemic SNAP increases. All these different things, there was nothing. So at least now there is. And there's probably going to be a lot more in 2022. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. Just click the subscribe button and then click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live with new videos, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest video next, and you can click this video on how some people are going to be getting $5,000 back on their tax return. And if you don't know about it, you might not get the $5,000 if it applies to you. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.